Urmilji.
Should I start? Okay. Good morning, all of you. I'm Urmila Chawla. Today, Hershey got stranded in Dallas because of the bad weather, and Karuna Chaudhary will recite the verses in Sanskrit and do the prayers also, and I'll do the class, and we will do the topic temptations. Thank you. Karuna, you can start.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Urmilji. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitaamrutavarshiniം Bhagavatim Ashtadashaധ്यायिनीम् Amb Tvāmanusandadhāmi Bhagavad Gite Bhavatveshinim Namostu te Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Fullaravindayata Netra Yena Tvaya Bharatatailapurna Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipah Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraikapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gitamrutaduhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gao Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsasudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamrutam Mahat Vasudeva Sutan Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Bhishmadronatata Jayadratha Jala Gandharanilotpala Shalyagrahvati Krupena Vahani Karnena Velakula Ashvathama Vikarna Ghora Makara Duryodhana Vartini Sotirna Khalu Pandavairananadi Kaivartaka Keshavaha Parasharyavachas Sarojamamalam Gitarthagandhotkatan Nanakyanakakesaram Harikatha Sambodhana Bodhitam Loke Sajjana Shatpadairaharaha Pepiyamanam Muda Bhuyad Bharat Pankajam Kalimalap Pradvamsina Shreyase Mukhaṁ karoti vācālam pangullaṅghayate girim Yatkrupatamaham vande paramanandamādhavam Yam brahma varunendra rudra marutas Stunvanti divyaistavai Vedai sanga padakramopanishadai Gayanti yam samagaha Dhyanavasthita tadgatena manasa Pashyanti yogino Yasyantanna vidussura suraguna Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha देवाय तस्मै नमः.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Um,
Yeah, I'll start with shlokas now.
for those of you who joined a little later, this is to let you know that Hershey was stranded in Dallas when she went there to do a wedding. She got stranded because of the weather. Her flight is delayed, and so she will not be able to attend this morning class. But I will do the whole explanation and also my take on temptation. So here we go. We have done chapter 2. Most of these first 3 verses that she recited are from chapter 2, 260, 61, and 70. In 260,
Urmilji, she hasn't recited. She hasn't recited the verses. Sorry.
That's okay. I'll start it now. Yeah.
Okay.
यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता आपूर्यमाणमचलप्रतिष्ठं समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी दैवी हेषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतान् तरन्ति ते. Yeah. Thank you, Urmilji.
Okay, now I can start. Okay, in 2.60, it says the senses are so strong and turbulent that they can forcibly carry away the mind, even of a person who is got a lot of determination and has been practicing self-control. So the 3 things that he mentioned in 2.60 is, 1, he gives credit to the senses that they are strong, but they can be strong in the negative way also. And they are turbulent in the sense they have a lot of force in them to make you get drawn to them. And they can forcibly carry away the mind in the wrong direction, even of the person who is endowed with determination and practicing self-control. Such is the power of the senses. They are like wild horses. Therefore, we have to tame the indulgent senses colored by lust, greed, and yearnings. Senses have the power to derail the spiritual process of even the well-intentional yogis. So these senses get greedy and want more and more. Their appetite is insatiable. And even somebody who is trying to be on the path of rajas to sattva, they molest the veiling and they take away the tranquility of the mind. Then we know what do they experience after somebody's controlled senses are molested. He says they experience sorrow caused by sense organs' constant movement. They are trying to be good and they are getting tempted. So you have to pay attention to your senses all the time. Even if you think you have come a long way in controlling them, the minute you take the attention off the road, what happens? The car goes into the ditch. So similarly, the senses once again snatch the mind and and even the men of perfection are disturbed. 2.61. In that one, having restrained them all, he says, they are established in perfect knowledge, the people. But having restrained them all, he should sit steadfast, intent on me. His wisdom is steady, whose senses are under control. Constant struggle to control his sense organs and their mad, lustful wanderings is in their respective fields. Control here does not mean suppression, but inner spiritual growth, understanding the importance of controlling the senses and which make you give more true happiness. By doing so, people who have attained self-perfection and focus on God, they have mental steadiness. But to them also, those who are steadfast in wisdom, Lord Krishna says, beware of the temptations, because they come in many shapes and forms. So, what does he tell us in 261? Temptations, absorption in devotion towards Lord Krishna, be at his lotus feet, get into chanting, or by controlling all the senses. He talks about each sense. Tongue is for chanting, ears are for narration of scriptures, eyes is to see the beauty of the deity, sense of touch should be to massage Lord's feet. So use the senses for better things and subdue all senses by changing the direction of focus towards God. So this is how much he has mentioned in verse 261. Now we go to 270. And here he tends to give us an analogy as a solution. He says, just as the ocean remains undisturbed by the incessant flow of waters from rivers merging into it, likewise, the man of perfection or the sage, who's unmoved despite of the flow of desirable objects all around him, attains peace, and not the person who strives to satisfy desires. So what Lord Krishna is saying here is that a man of steady knowledge, a man of perfection, one who finds his balance and is, in spite of being surrounded by objects of desire that tempt sense organs, that person truly discovers complete peace and happiness within himself. So that's the meaning of the verse 70. Then in chapter 7, Shloka 14, it says, Lord Krishna suggests some solutions. He says, my divine energy, Maya, consists of the three modes of nature. It is very difficult to overcome, but those who surrender unto me cross over it easily. So what is God's Maya? God's Maya is the energy of God. Maya is an energy that is engaged in giving service to the Lord. And he says, one cannot control and overcome Maya alone and by self-effort only. Lord Krishna says, if you surrender to God, my work is done. In other words, control your senses, make a self-effort to not to resist temptations, but in the end, don't just sit back and say, I surrender to you, God, and you do control my senses. No, what he means is make a self-effort to control by all the tools he has suggested to you. And if you still have a hard time resisting temptations, then you ask for God's help, God's grace, and surrender to God. Maya, he himself admits, Lord Krishna, that Maya keeps troubling a man's soul until he surrenders to God. And that is the role and goal of Maya. It will keep bothering you. Hey, it will say, come on, you haven't succeeded. Surrender to God, surrender to God. And eventually, your final weapon or your tool in your hand is to surrender to God. Lord Krishna said, those who devote themselves to me alone shall cross over the subjective delusion which has created for man the objective worlds of sorrows and imperfections. Therefore, single-pointed, steady and concentrated mind with meditation will control your surrender senses and you will surrender to God. Now, this is what these 4 verses have told us. And I am going to give you my take on temptations. After all, temptations starts from desires, which need to be resisted. We have to conquer the devil inside us. We tend to cheat. We tend to steal because we are greedy. If we can't get something, we get angry. And these are the natural urges that we have been taught to resist right from childhood. But the temptation's power is so strong that they capture us. Then sometimes the short-term gain is so powerful that we forget the long-term sorrow that we will get out of it. And let us say you want to eat caramel pudding or a slice of tiramisu pudding. There's an instant urge, but are you carrying the weapon in your mind that will help you to control that urge? Have you remembered the word? Control bars and bakery? Temptations are like that. You have to carry the weapons in your mind. Temptation to steal, you're able to control because you have been told the value of honesty over stealing. And that weapon should be in your pocket, and that will tell you, no, I'm not going to steal. I'm not going to cheat. Often our urges look at the short-term joy and benefit and not the long-term sorrow. Let's say getting drunk by having more than you can handle the liquor, they become victims of temptations and then lose control. Sometimes in a drunk state of affairs, a person could get involved in sinful behavior. For example, illicit sex or driving under the influence of liquor and having an accident. So just remember, avoid bakeries and bars. Okay. Then we know that temptations come in disguised form. And sometimes these are very good looking acts. Let's say you have done a good deed. Then what happens? You get praised. Then what happens? Temptations to do more good, but inner motive is fame. It may lead to pride. And then you fall prey to the temptations which are come to you in hidden form. And you commit sin and get lost on your journey to become one with God. So you have to keep tracking your goal and your path, because in every path, even if you're driving on our good old Ogden Avenue, you will see there's Dunkin' Donuts on one side, and you turn your face away. No, I'm not going to eat Dunkin' Donuts. You turn around, and then there is McDonald's, and they have a very nice apple pie, and you say, no. And you go on, and there is at every stop sign, there is a store that is trying to call you. Come. So what you have to do is help yourself before asking God for help. And then we are going to talk about what I mentioned earlier, self-effort. So how you can resist and control temptations? One, with willpower. Plan your day. And if you're controlling the food intake, let us say you are on a diet, plan the portion size, the foods you can eat, and ones you have to avoid. Resist sugar, like desserts and beverages and so on. 3, prioritize if you have decided to do yoga and meditation every day. It takes a lot of psychic energy to say, I am going to do yoga and meditation every day, because you have to find a slot in your routine that this 45 minutes to an hour, I am not going to think about cooking. I'm not going to think about my laundry. I'm going to sit in that corner of the house and only do yoga and meditation. So, on the same time, don't put lots of other things on your agenda. Like today, I'm also going to try to learn something new. Don't suddenly also join your piano classes or some other classes, because you can't uh, spread your energy. You need a lot of energy and a lot of energy to focus on that one issue or that one goal, which is meditation or yoga or whatever. So don't plan other big things. Oh, I'm going to paint my house and then only in the 11 to 12 I will do the yoga. No, your psychic energy will deplete. So one project at a time. Then only you will succeed in controlling your senses. Okay, I'm not done, but I lost myself. And number 4, be satisfied and accept that you are good enough. Another problem that happens is if you're an overachiever and you want to be so perfect, you frustrate yourself. And when you are frustrated, you forget that you have a goal to control your senses, and you are so frustrated, you just go out and you have ice cream. And that may, or you think you're not looking good, so you go buy another cream or perhaps another shade of lipstick because you think I'm going to look better. It's because you have disturbed your mind. Oh, I have to look better than the best and better than the best, and you end up buying 10 kinds of creams. So control and resist temptations, but you have to realize that the modern world, with so much marketing on the television, on the billboards, on the radio, there are so many temptations that they distract you. So get up from the, try to do less of TV or turn it off during the commercials and turn it on again when your program is coming, or avoid the billboards and just drive straight. So there are so many things you need to do to fight out all the possible lures in your environment. So control and resist temptations, but modern world is full of innumerable temptations. Distract yourself. Let's say you are sitting on the table and you've had a good meal and the desserts are being served. Sometimes you go somewhere or even at home, you have 1 or 2 desserts. Get up, go start doing some dishes or go watch TV and leave the table. And even if others tell you, come back, oh, I'm just coming. Avoid being in front of those desserts. And at the same time, if someday you feel like having a bite of ice cream or a piece of chocolate, it's okay. Allow yourself to eat some, but only once in a blue moon. If you are too hard on yourself, you will get tired of resisting and you will have a backlash. So don't kill yourself or scold yourself if someday you have eaten a piece of dessert or sweets. So what it means is that don't exhaust yourself by too much self-control. Relax. It is good to be self-disciplined, but don't have to go overboard. And accept if you are less than perfect. Because when you don't accept yourself being a little less perfect, you beat yourself and you are in the negative role. And don't let the negative spiral bring you down. Instead, pat yourself, love yourself, and say, it's okay. But tomorrow I will realign myself and not let myself be derailed. So use your tools. You've read enough of them in the Bhagavad Gita to control your senses and move on. Finally, pray to God to give you the strength and will to control your senses. After having made a lot of effort, surrender to God to help you, guide you, and give you His grace. So we don't start with asking for grace or help or surrender. We make our own effort, and God's grace will make it happen. So remember that. Now, in order to conclude all that I have told you about the temptations in these 4 verses and my little summary on it, I have a little poem, and it will sum up everything very beautifully. And it says, the lure of temptation. Oh, how sweet the fruits of temptation. How it enchants with its seductive invitation, promising pleasures which are beyond compare, tossing rush of excitement in the air. How we long to give in to its call, to take the risk, to risk it all. But beware of the lure of temptations. It can lead to a dangerous path of destruction. A path where we lose ourselves in pursuits of pleasure and forget the consequence that we'll have to measure. Oh, how we dance with the devil in its shadow. We trade in our souls for the moment's glow. When the thrill of the moment fades away, leaving us alone in the aftermath of our play. So let us resist the lure of all temptations. Let us be true to our own convictions. For in the end, our own soul will save and lead a life we'll be proud to pave. All put together, I think it ties up all the 4 verses and my take on it. Now we are going to be open to a little interactive discussion. And all of you have to wake up, unmute yourself. Okay, close.